Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satgurum Pranatosmyaham Satgurum Pranatosmyaham. So what are we looking at today? Where we left off last time in Vivekachudamani was an exploration of what is the means for liberation. Not what are the means, what is the means. There is only one that is knowing in essence what my true nature is. Liberation is predicated on that knowledge. Along the way, the process, the qualifications, everything else is to aid me in developing that capacity to do vichara, to think deeper, as well as to purify this inner instrument right here. That is the entire journey that we take in this process. Now, today, what we're going to look at is going deeper into understanding what exactly is the benefit of getting this moksha. Because there are many things I desire in my life. Why is this different? First thing to see. Second thing to really hone in on is, in and through this process, what are those pitfalls to avoid? For a large portion of Vivekachudamani coming up, for the next few sessions, it's going to be all about what are those pitfalls to avoid in a sadhaka's journey. That's natural to come after talking about qualifications. So let's look at that first shloka that we look at today. This is the 65th shloka. Aptoktim khananam tathopariशिलात् yutkarshanam svikritim निक्षेपः समपेक्षते नहि बहिः शब्दैस्तु निर्गच्छति तद्वद् ब्रह्मविदोपदेशमनन ध्यानादिभिर्लभ्यते माया कार्यतिरोहितं स्वममलं तत्त्वं न दुर्युक्तिभिः. It's a rare meter, but one of my favorite meters. Really musical, nice tune, you can go along with it. The metaphor here is brilliant, amazing. Visualize, if you will, a treasure hidden below the earth. That means already there has to be knowledge of where that treasure is, first of all. There has to be that effort, prayatna, put to go find that treasure as well. Removing big stones, small stones, every other stone in between. You finally get to what that treasure is. And you remove all the coverings that were on it. And it's not going to come just by saying, hey, come here. It's not a puppy. You have to go in and really get that out. Similarly, Maya is in the form of those rocks and boulders covering up this treasure. This treasure of knowing what I am in my essence. And the way I can get there is by the instructions of someone that knows what this treasure is. In this case, takes one to know one. That is the guru. We looked at the lakshanas a few sessions ago of a true guru. Shrotriyam brahmanishtam. Here, the brahmanishtam point is pointed out right here. That knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. It's given in Taittiriya Upanishad. Brahma vedapnoti param. Which knower of Brahman becomes that thing. There's no other way. So, not through kutarka, wrong reasoning either, do I get to this. This treasure is simply found by that effort, guided by the guru, going by the shastra. Now, it's really interesting that this is the example given, a treasure. Because this is the most valuable thing we can have, is that moksha. That's what we have to convince ourselves of next. Convincing myself to take advantage of my human birth for something beyond just living within my means, that's one level. Next level on top of that, saying that I will go by what this Vedic thinking is, where it's not totally about satiating this BMI, not totally about some name and fame beyond this BMI, it's more about what can I do to build up my punya through dharma. Dharma marga is that. Finally, that final step we come to of understanding is it's simply not just about doing those right actions. Is moksha that ultimate goal? And if that is the goal, all subsequent actions will be aligned only for that pure liberation. Nothing else. So this is that treasure that we are ardently digging for here. Now, what else do we find going forward? 69th shloka is another beautiful one. Mokshasya hetuf prathamo nigadyate vairagyamatyantamanityavastushu tatha shamaschapi damastitiksha nyasa prasakta khila karmanam bhrisham. The beautiful part about this shloka is it gives us a step-by-step process going forward, exactly at the point that we need it. We got a deluge of all these different qualifications that we need to cultivate. There was Viveka, Vairagya, the Shatsampatti, Shama, Dhamma, Uparamaha, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhanam, followed then by Mumukshutvam, that yearning for liberation. With all of that firmly in place, what is my first stage that I go to? Because there can be some confusion at this point. Is it that I try to cultivate all of these qualifications at the same time? Is it that I have to tackle Viveka first before Vairagya, Vairagya before Viveka? What is this entire process I need to have? Or is having Mumukshutvam enough just to carry me forward? That's why this shloka is so valuable right here. In this one, it says that first step to moksha, reason for moksha, hetuhu, hetu means reason, is detachment from that which is impermanent. Think about it. Even if I try to find a way to gain clarity about what's real versus unreal, if I am attached to the world of objects all around me, that growth is impossible. There is no way I can put it all aside simply to focus on this knowledge at hand. This knowledge will be yet one other thing that I focus on away from what my goal of moksha is. Something on the side. Some other peripheral benefit that is not a central part of my life. Hopefully by this point, Bhagavan Shri Adi Shankaracharya has impressed upon us that this cannot be something peripheral that is another side quest. Those of you teaching Balavihar, you should know what this term is, side quest. Every now and then, along with the Sanskrit vocabulary, I have to give you pop culture vocabulary as well. When you're playing a video game, there is one goal that is there. There are these other points you can get doing other things. Those are called side quests. Say this to your Balavihar kids, they'll be really impressed, okay? Don't tell them I told you. Say that you found it out on your own. They'll be super impressed with you. Like that, is this spiritual journey a side quest for me? I have my real estate holdings. I have my other passive income. I have other things like getting a name in the community. Plus, I also have a spiritual side to me. Or like spokes in a wheel, is this religious unfoldment the center of my life? Moksha sadhana. Everything else is around that, connecting to it in some way. And if some action is only to bloat this individuality, bloat this ego, and serves no other purpose besides that, I want no part of it. Do I have the confidence to have that mentality? Therefore, Vairagya, detachment, is that first one. Then follows the other steps that are given. Calmness, self-control, forbearance, renunciation, all of these qualities come as a byproduct of that Vairagya. Calmness will come with Vairagya. Because I'm no longer jumping after every opportunity to exhaust some sense pleasure, not only is this body calm, the mind is calm as well. Shama and Dhamma, they're accomplished that way. Self-control also comes about. Uparamaha. Desisting from that which is not my duty, even if it gives me pleasure, focusing on what should be done. That builds. Forbearance, titiksha. This also is a natural byproduct of that Vairagya, where I can easily follow what I like and be averse to what I dislike. Vairagya, that cultivation of that quality, keeps me sticking with duty, not erring in any way. Therefore, forbearance comes about. And then finally, I'm ready to renounce this idea that I am this BMI, ready for that ultimate knowledge. Now, the biggest legwork that happens is in this Vairagya. It means different things in different stages of life. Now, what are the challenges coming for Grihastha Ashrama? You cannot force Vairagya on someone else. Meaning, I don't want to have any desires, therefore my family has to live that same way. All the other families go on vacation twice a year, we don't go anywhere. Everyone else, they have iPhones in their family, we will not have that. It doesn't work practically that way. You have to make an assessment that I'm not pushing this onto my family or anyone else, but as much as I can personally, am I aligning with this? Because we see this often. One family member may be wanting to be involved in Satsanga, in Seva, in all of these aspects. A spouse or a child or a parent, someone may not see the benefit and value of it. And with that comes scorn and ridicule and all these other things. I see this in so many families. Quite rarely, we find an entire family, everyone fully on board saying, okay, this is something we find value in, we will do this. But it's not our job to push that on any of our family members. Every jiva grows in their own way. As long as they're allowing us to take part in this, even if there's ridicule or something, if I'm able to do it, titiksha, forbearance, let that be the lesson from it. They see the change that happens in you by taking part in all of this, they'll automatically come. So many times I've seen this. Our Devi group members, sometimes our husbands will ridicule, oh, where are you going studying this and that and everything. They see what the benefits are, what the happiness is. Then those husbands come around later and saying, oh, is there anything for us? Some kind of study group, satsang, this and that. Finally, they wake up at a certain point. That'll be there. It's okay. Or people will scorn saying, you teach Bal Vihar, what's the point? There's no monetary benefit that comes from there. You're just teaching kids that'll forget this anyway. You have lots of naysayers there. That's the signs of a tamasic karta. Someone that won't do and will ridicule those people that do. Right? That's the worst kind of mentality to have. You'll face that a lot. If you haven't faced that yet, you'll face that a lot from people. Never give in to that. All these qualities are to combat that internally. Never start a fight with those people and say, you're wrong, let me prove you wrong. There's no reason to prove anyone wrong, okay? They don't care enough to be proven right or wrong. We should not care either. Focus on what the task at hand is. Focus on doing my best. That's all it is. Going further now, the next immediate shloka. Here we come to the process with 5 different steps that are given here. 5 major steps that are given in this entire process of unfoldment, of where they should come. This shloka is important because it shows us, based on where I am, what should my focus be. Tata shrutis tanmananam satatva dhyanam chiram nitya nirantaram munehe tato vikalpam parametya vidvan ihaiva nirvana sukham samricchati. What are these 5 steps that we see? The first step is hearing, shravanam. Shravanam means listening. Not simply listening, there's a lot more that goes into that. It's doubtlessly understanding at the hearing level. Meaning that there are no questions that are not uncovered. It's heard in completeness. Oftentimes, Chinmaya channel, the official CCMT YouTube channel, they'll have a satsang series by Puja Guruji or Puja Swami Swarupananji. And I tell myself every time, okay, this time I'll keep up with it. They usually do it consecutive days, like 13 straight days, 31 straight days, like that. The first 2 days, I'm able to stick with it. After that, there's a call at that time or something, I miss a day. Before I know it, I miss 2 days. Before I know it, they're on lecture number 8. I've only gone through 2 of them. And I feel terrible. I'm so mad at myself that, man, I made the sankalpa to stay with this. This is our guru's satsang that they're giving, and here I am, I'm not able to keep up with it. It's so easy. I don't have to go anywhere even, man. I got to turn on to YouTube, and I'm right there. I really loathe myself for not being able to keep up with it. Thank God we have recordings that we can put online. But that happens often. Miss a few days, and before you know it, you're behind by a lot. Shravanam only works when it's consistently done. I cannot sit there on a Sunday and try to digest 8 full lectures on a certain text and expect to get all of it. Consistent in small doses. Why? Because mananam, reflection, step number 2 is required at each stage. I have to be able to digest it, come up with questions that I have on my own, be able to go through a logical system to understand these are the gaps in my knowledge, this is how I reconcile it for myself. All of that has to happen in that mananam process. Finally, we come to stage number 3, the M word, continuous meditation. Meditation in the Vedantic sense is not sitting there with my eyes closed and waiting to hear sounds and lights and everything like that. That is hallucination. Okay? You can take some things to have that. You don't have to sit down and just make that happen. Meditation, what nididhyasanam is, according to the Vedantic sense, is once this knowledge has been refined for myself through this process of mananam, I own up this knowledge. Those viparita bhavanas, erroneous notions that still linger in my intellect, to weed those out, I sit with that single constant stream of thought. I am not this body, yet I function through this body. But this body has a date of birth, meaning it has date of expiration. Therefore, it's impermanent. That which is impermanent cannot be real. That which is not real cannot be my source. That which is not my source cannot be my identity. Therefore, I am not this body. Another stream of thought you can have also, I am not this body. Because it is segmented in various layers, and by body, we mean body, mind, intellect. All 3 layers like that. Those are all 3 bodies. Even at this mental layer, emotions come and go. Intellectual layer, there is constant change. Intellect goes into laya during deep sleep, still comes back later. With all of these changes going on, that means there is decay over time. Therefore, that which is permanent undergoes no change. That cannot be my identity. Single stream of thought focusing on every aspect like that. That is nididhyasanam. What does this do? What process? What does it even mean? If I firmly have this conviction, this is how I own it up. Example given here then. One more stage. Nirvikalpa Samadhi, stage 4. Nirvikalpa, because what we said is savikalpa at stage 3. These stream of thoughts coming. Nirvikalpa is when this triad disappears. Of the meditated object, meditator, me, meditating, that process, all of that goes away there. There is no thought. Now, this is not something that will happen in a few weeks. When we were at the Brahmacharya training course, one Brahmacharya very proudly said, this is after 2 weeks of going through this concept. She said, I reached Nirvikalpa Samadhi yesterday. And she only told 2 people, the one that asked and the one that didn't ask. Only those 2 people. But she was quite proud of it. We were laughing, like, what are we talking about, man? Come on, we just learned this. This comes after decades of sadhana, where that mind is held in suspension without any kind of distraction. No thought can shake the core of this mind. It's like a bulletproof mind. The thoughts just bounce. It's not like they come in and they have to go out. They just stopped in their tracks. That is that Nirvikalpa Samadhi. And finally, stage 5, realizing what this bliss is. That bliss of nirvana, paramananda, that is realized completely. Now, using this word nirvana here, there are many connotations. There's the Buddhist connotation. There's a really good rock band also called Nirvana. That does not mean any of these things, okay? In the Vedantic sense, Nirvana simply means that mukti. You can see they're analogous. In the Buddhist perspective, it's something different. Let's keep it to this definition right here. We can split hairs about that at a future time. So why this threefold process is the most important part of these 5 steps? Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. The most important layer of the 3 of these, for us as sadhakas, is that Shravanam layer. doubtlessly understand what is given in the various satsangs. Because I often find this 20 people in a session, you ask them to summarize what the satsang is at the end. They'll say 20 different things. And none of them seems to be what the intention is of the speaker. Perhaps that's my limitation as a speaker. I got to get better at being more precise on some things or use the board more and write things down. But it also shows we want to hone in on what we have an affinity for. Those topics that we find interesting that'll make its way into our psyche, those parts that either we don't think are important or don't stand out to us, they don't really make a dent. But the truth is, as we go deeper into these texts, they get more subtle. Right now, we're at a very basic layer of Vivekachudamani. We have not even gotten into the logical portion. That's one layer of mananam that is, that's hard to get through some of it. A lot of logic involved. One more layer after that of owning up this knowledge, nididhyasana, these shlokas go on for about 150 shlokas near the end. At that point, if I'm restless, it won't make sense. It'll seem like it's the same shloka being redundantly given again and again. There are minor differences in each of the shlokas that give me those angles to look at these shlokas in. So by that point, it's important that we have this muscle of shravanam that is flexed, which is why I always say, listening to a weekly satsang from a brahmachari that has 6 years experience will not get you anywhere. Watch something daily by Puja Gurudev, Puja Guruji, Swami Swarupananji, Swami Sarveshananji. Listen to something on a daily basis by them. The angles that they're coming at with, the way they're simplifying complex ideas, the way they're making relatively minor concepts applicable in our own lives, they're making all of that happen. That is food for thought, and consistency is that key. And some would say, I use my commute to listen to satsang. You're not completely focused on satsang in the car, nor should you be. I'm saying that for my own safety because I share the same roads as you. Once our board gets me a helicopter, you can drive however you want. I'm fine with that. Until that day, because once we build Panchavarti, then is helicopter for Hari. Once we come to that point, we're fine. Until then, though, please don't focus completely on satsang when you're on the road. Use that time alone when you're seated in a relaxed place, notebook in hand so you can write things down. That's the time to go through these satsangas. Carving out that time. And if that time is not available, I understand. Commutes or taking a walk, yeah, that's fine. But see if you can deliberately use that time for this. Next shloka right here. We're getting to one of my favorite shlokas soon. I'm excited. These are important too, but we're going to get to one that's really one of my favorites. Ya eshu mudha vishayeshu baddhaha rago rupashena sudurdamena ayanti niryanti adha urdhvamuchaihi svakarma dutena javena nitaha. Any shloka that has the word mudha in it, don't read it as mudha, read it as me, I. Not me, Hari, me, insert name here. It's talking about us. Sometimes it says Ajnani thinks this, Mudha thinks this, and we can sit there, haha, yeah, Mudha thinks that. It's talking about me, to me and you. That's who it's talking about. He is addressing us personally there. All right? Mudha means insert name here. What do we do as thoughtless people? We are attached to sense objects. Anything that comes to us through sight, taste, touch, smell, sound. Anything that comes to us through these 5, we are addicted to. The memory of these things we are also addicted to. I went to a concert of my favorite singer in 2007. I still remember the order of every single song that he sang, in that order, how he did it, how he performed. So memory, if you want to keep a good memory, it'll stay. You want to get rid of a terrible memory, it'll stay. That's the nature of our mind. Everything in between that's kind of neutral will go. What we learn in satsang that we should understand will definitely go. That's also a reality here. Where I was talking to Swamiji one time, I said, yeah, that lecture you gave. And I explained where the setting was, which city we were in. It was outside of Dallas. Explain how it was, what the host wore, what Swamiji and I wore is the same thing, but the host wore this thing. And he said, okay, what did I talk about? And I said, sorry, I don't remember that part of it. Besides that, I remembered every other part. So satsang escapes us often as well. That's a reality. Now, what's that compelling force that's there? Because of my past actions, svakarma dutena, because of that, I find that I am running into these objects again and again. You know how sometimes you learn the definition of a word and you find later that week that word pops up 2 or 3 more times just randomly? It's not that the word popped up randomly. Now that I know the definition, I'm heightened to that. I will find it where it pops up. Similarly, because of my past actions, there is a taste for certain kinds of sense pleasures. And that will pop up. You know who craves sweets more than anybody? A diabetic. It's a fact. Because there is that sugar imbalance often, there is that craving for that sugar. Like that, the human body is that way. The mind is also that way. Once there's reliance on something, then there's a hankering for it. Sometimes we just wake up with a certain desire. My brother is like that when we were young. He'd wake up on a Saturday morning. Waking up, the first words were, I want a brownie today, is what he'd say. Something like that. And then that thought would linger the whole day. It was a good thing. I also got brownies then if he got them. But that's the thing, right? Sometimes we wake up with certain desires like that as well. So we can't always control these desires. Acting on the desires and going for them we can control. But it's like a skeleton of past actions that's binding us. Binding us to what? To these sense pleasures that are here. That's where I find myself. The tough part is not resisting these sense pleasures and not going after them. It's sustaining that lack of hankering. It's easy to slip up. And the longer I stay away from these and I slip up, I feel worse. That's why it's important to celebrate every single milestone. Not in a pompous way, but just to say, look, this mind is doing well. Reward this mind and keep it going forward. That's why you have Alcoholics Anonymous, right? They offer badges to people 20 years sober, 30 years sober, like that. They also have a 24-hour sober medal as well. Well, we'd see that as insignificant. For an alcoholic, that is a long damn time, 24 hours without alcohol or using any drugs or anything. Even that is celebrated. So this mind and some maturity, mudha, you and me, by the way, yeah, see? Mudha, with this mind that way, am I giving it its validation when it makes some kind of progress? That's okay. That needs to be there. Here we go! Okay, the 5% of shlokas, those that you must memorize, the 35 shlokas in this text that are amazing, this is one of them, one of my most favorite texts in our entire compendium of our knowledge right here. I love this one. Shabdadibhif panchabhireva pancha panchatvamapusvagunena baddhaha kurangamatanga bhrunganaraf panchabhiranchitah kim. The example given here is amazing. Animals, when we try to trap them intentionally, or just observe them and what they do, they have certain tendencies. Those that want to catch deer, they catch them by the sense of sound. If a flute is playing a beautiful melody, we say deer in the headlights with lights, but sound is what really attracts them. They come towards that sound, and they're looking around. They lose all sense of, are there predators around or anything? So to trap deer, I think people use their antlers for whatever they use it for. They trap deer that way. Play some beautiful music and the net will fall on them. Elephants have a desire for touch. The way elephant trappers trap them for their ivory tusks is they'll dig a giant hole big enough for an elephant to fall into. On the other side, they'll have a female elephant moving its trunk up and down, looking very cute, I'm guessing. And the male elephant sees it from the other side, wants to touch that elephant, runs, and then falls right into that pit right there, and they've trapped it. Sense of touch. Moth to a flame, we all know. In the Boy Scouts, we'd sit with lanterns, right? Or the campfire. Just bugs. Psh, psh. The worst was during the Vedanta course. Puja Guruji, Swami Tejamayanji, taught Srimad Bhagavatam to us for 55 days. 55 nights, actually, during the months of July and August. So during the monsoon, right in the heat of the monsoon time is when he's teaching. So it's wet everywhere. That's the one thing I don't like about Mumbai is everything is wet during that time. It's gross. So lots of pranis come out of nowhere, right? All these snails and frogs and bugs and everything. So Puja Guruji's lectures were being filmed professionally. Giant camera, all these lights and everything that are there. So you have to dodge lights when you're sitting down. My spot that I usually sit in, a light took that over. It kabjad my seat, so I had to go sit somewhere else also. Inconvenience like that. The biggest thing was, though, if you sat by one of those lights, these moths keep flying into them. Every now and then, as Guruji is speaking, you'll hear a psst. That means Prani has gotten moksha from the light. And you can smell that moth. It's a terrible smell. You thought mothballs were bad? An actual dead moth is a worse smell than that. So a moth is just taken by that light. It can see 5 of its friends go and get burnt also. It won't be like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. It'll go attracted to light and get burned right away. Then there's a fish. What is a fish attracted to? Now, one of the best, I haven't gone fishing. Very cursory, catch and release is all I've done. But those fishermen that actually want to catch something, live worms, I think, is one bait that's used. The ones that don't want to do that, what do? They get these rubber toy kind of things. They're so colorful. They look very enticing. So the fish will go looking at that thing, going to want to bite it because it looks very enticing to them. Hook, line, and sinker. They get caught on that, and that's how they get caught. The more colorful and brighter and some frills and stuff, that's how the fish really gets attracted to it. So we've seen the deer's sense of sound. Elephant is touch. Moth is sight. Fish is taste then. Okay, it looks really tasty. That's what it is. Honeybee is what? What's left? Sound. Touch. Taste. Sight. Smell. The pollination process is because the honeybee has a really keen sense of smell. It can smell that honey, like whatever that pollinating flower is, it's really attracted to that smell. So it doesn't even have to do anything. It just goes and takes a knife whiff, goes to another flower, and pollination happens in that process. That's how that honey is created from all these various sources. Now, the logic here is, you can say all these animals are dumb. They fall for these things, for each of these senses. I, as the mighty human, with opposable thumbs and intellect, I will not fall for anything, right? Actually, as the intelligent human that I am, while these animals each fall for one sense, I fall for all 5 of them. Who's the stupid animal here now, guys? These animals or the mighty human? That's why I love the shloka, because it puts it all in perspective then. Look at food. There are many arts in the world. The most nuanced art form that requires all 5 of my senses to be drawn to it is food. Oftentimes, something may smell good or taste good and be good for you, but if it looks unappealing, we don't want to eat it. That's why the glory of a 5-star restaurant or a 3-star Michelin restaurant, my theory, okay? It's not that the food is that much better than anywhere else. The presentation looks amazing, though. For those 2 slices of bread with whatever that kind of drizzle that they have with the vinaigrette, and then they'll put garnish of some mint leaf on top of that. It looks so cute, you don't want to eat it even. It's beautiful. It's really nice. Now, this is what I find, that everything is packaged so well like this in the world, I easily fall for these things. As much as I try not to. So food is the most basic one. Tongue is the one organ, misused, can hurt me in many ways. Either I say something wrong and that hurts me, or I consume things with it and it hurts me. This 2 inches of tongue gets me in big trouble. So food appealing to the sight, a sizzling nice sound to it, taste, of course, nice smelling food, the texture is nice. All 5 are drawn in right there. So that plagues me as a person. Now going to the next one, what do we find? The 81st shloka. Jumping a little bit to start this next topic of actually assessing this body, what it needs, what it doesn't need. Vishama vishaya margair gacchato nacha buddhe pratipadam abhiyato mrityurapyesha vidhi hita sujana guruktya gacchata svasya yuktya prabhavati phala siddhi satyamityeva vidhi. Satyamityeva vidhi. Know this for certain. Know what for certain? That when I'm on this path to resisting what my sense organs want, I need to have the instructions of a guru with me. This is not a DIY project. Why is this given right here? Because in some people's overintelligence, the idea that they have is, all of this organized religion is not for me. My generation loves saying BS like this. Organized religion is not for me. It's all an internal journey that we have to take. You even have famous people in the name of Hinduism, certain gurus, say, don't study Sanskritam, that clouds your mind. It's an inner experience with inner engineering and all this nonsense. Don't believe any of that, okay? Anyone that sways from Shastra is not a guru. Don't believe in that stuff. Shastra is the edifice of everything. Just because they celebrate things like Shivaratri and Deepavali and make a marketing of it, does not mean they're going by Shastra. You'll know if they're going by Shastra. They'll point to those books and say, this is what the book says. Puja Gurudev always said, do not just trust me because it sounds logical and nice. Is it actually going by the scripture? The humility to say that these are not hucksters trying to sell things, as Gurudev wanted to see them as when he was Balakrishna Menon. They're actually intentioned to do good things for people. Well-meaning guru means that. Few and far in between. So I know it's the fashion to go guru hunting as well. Anyone that comes to your city, you go and listen to. Oh, it's a Hindu thing, it's a satsang, it must be good. Okay, what are we actually getting from that, though? If it's conflicting ideas from everyone, that only hurts me. Pick what that line is very clearly, or else I will fall for anything. And one clear way to know is if they ask for money before talking about knowledge, that's one clear sign. Okay? That's a very clear sign that their intentions are not right. So, entire Chinmaya Sampradaya, Puja Gurudev, very intentional about what they're asking for from people, what they're giving the people. There's no two ways about that. So walking this right path means taking those instructions to heart. Without that Guru Upasatti, and you never have to have met Gurudev. I've never met Gurudev. But that firm faith there in the message, knowing what that individual's vision is completely, that's important to know for growth. Holistically from all different ways. Where Puja Gurudev was focused primarily on the spiritual unfoldment from a knowledge perspective. At the same time, he talked vastly about Hindu identity. He wrote so much about what it means to maintain this Hindu lifestyle, what a worldview is according to dharma and the dharmic views. All of that was brought in. So, truly understanding what his vision means is to go through his works. I say this time and again ad nauseum. Especially for you as Balvihar teachers, it is imperative that you go through his works. His videos, his written works, all of this. To really grasp that vision. Because the longer a lineage goes away from that guru, like 30 years, for us 32 years, almost 33 years, the more likely we can deviate from that vision. Co-opting it for our own agendas, or whatever is in fashion, attributing that to the vision as well. Gurudev was very clear about what he said and what he didn't say. No reason to attribute anything else to the vision. Do we understand it fully? The reason I'm saying this so forcefully is, even when I give things like civilizational topics, about uncomfortable subject matter. Some teachers say, Hari, what are you doing? This is not the ethos of the mission. Really? Read one of Gurudev's essay collections. I will never present anything to you in a civilizational topic that has not been advocated for by Puja Gurudev. I'll take that responsibility for sure. Do we have the courage and the time and the commitment and the energy to go through his works to see what he says in all different areas? Because that's what makes a well-rounded Hindu. And if there's anyone that needs to be a well-rounded Hindu, it's our Balvihar teachers. You are giving this knowledge to the next generation. That is that biggest responsibility. So it's been a couple months since we have our Balvihar training. I'd like to reiterate to all of you, please keep up with your preparation for class. I know this time of year things get really busy. And for the kids as well, there still has to be that spark for them to show up to Balvihar. If we're not prepared for our classes and we try to wing it week after week, it does not have the desired effect. Kids as young as 2nd, 3rd grade can pick up on that. There's no prep, they're just making something on the fly. So there's one question I'd have to answer privately, just because it's so specific on attaining a quiet mind, but it goes into a lot of other caveats. I'll have to answer that person privately. One other question. What are the most subtle attachments that hinder a seeker from realizing true nature, and how can we effectively detach from them? So what are those subtle attachments? Today we went through the most tangible attachments. That's the sense organs. Those are the most tangible ones. A subtle attachment can be an attachment to my own questions. You'll see it. When we travel as brahmacharis, we'll go somewhere, and people will say, one person will stand up, I have asked this question to every Swami and brahmachari I've met. I still haven't gotten an right answer for it, so I'm asking you. My response at that time is, man, if they cannot answer it, these big Swamis, how the hell am I going to answer your question at all? What am I compared to that? Please don't ask me. Or ask me, don't expect a good answer, though, is what I say. We're attached often to our own train of thought. I see it. When people ask me a question, I'll try to answer it. They'll cut me off and say, no, but this is what I mean. I know what you mean. Let me come to it. And I can't give you a 30-second TikTok soundbite. Let me come to it at my pace. I have to do a lot of build-up to understand. If you're not ready for the build-up, you're not ready for the main point, you're not going to get the answer then. So what I like to do with those situations, I see they're not able to let me even finish, I go the route of, okay, this chapter in this book by Gurudev answers this question, please go there. That's the next best thing I can do. So attachment to questions is one subtle attachment. Another subtle attachment that can seem good on its face is sadhana that is done with the desire of letting people know that I do that sadhana. So talking about when you wake up in the morning, talking about this, it looks really tacky. It's easy for other people to see. In one way, it's like, okay, you can't really, they're doing the sadhana, okay. And if there is some kind of attachment to it that comes in the form of wanting to talk about it, that's one thing. But that also is a subtle one. So a good question in that we focused on the most tangible ones here in this session today, the sense organs. But these are the other subtle ones. From the same individual, in the journey towards self-realization, what role does patience play for one cultivating unwavering patience amid obstacles? Patience can come in various waves. The very beginning of our sadhaka's journey, we're impatient with ourselves. Taking up various sadhanas, I sit down for that japa, every dumb thought comes to mind, I'm impatient with myself. That I should be stronger than this. After all, I have an MBA and this degree and that degree, why can't I concentrate on this? That's one wave. The next wave that comes, we find a comfort with sadhana, whether it's the learning curve of studying, whether it's assimilating various practices into our lives, whether sadhana practices become more natural and fluid, there comes to be a stable stage there where we like it. Stage 3 after that, again, impatience. I'm not growing like I want to. I still have these bad tendencies. Look how diligent I am with my sadhanas. Still, I don't feel good. Still, I'm not assimilating all of this knowledge right away. It comes in waves like that. So what role does patience play? In Mundaka Upanishad, one of the beautiful Upanishad, dhairya is given. Dhairya we see as bravery. Dhairya means patience as well. So dhairya is given in the sense that with this growth, I understand that it will take time. I'm realistic about it. And I'm willing to make those improvements in myself, understanding the effects won't be there right away. Those of you that garden, and Naveenji's background is also grass and everything right now. So those of you that garden, you don't put the seed in and then uncover the soil every day looking, did it grow, did it grow? You're effectively killing any way for it to grow. The only karma you do is water that plant, some nice mulch, you do all that, let it happen. Similarly, letting it happen. Do my sadhana to the best of my ability. Make sure I'm diligent with it. Let the process take root, let it happen slowly. Because these vasanas and bad habits I have, I've cultivated them lifetime over lifetime quite strenuously. How much undoing is there that has to be done then? Have to take that into mind as well. One question in the chat, two questions in the chat. So to win over the senses, one would try to suppress desire, but suppression doesn't last long. While we yet gain our sublimation, what should one do to overcome the desires? It depends on the ferocity and the nature of the desire. If it's a desire that leads to self-harm or health that is affected physically or mentally, you have to stop that as soon as possible. If I have liver cirrhosis and I'm like, hey, let me taper down one less drink every day till I get to 0, this is not some vrata like Chandrayana vrata where you eat one morsel then 2 more. That doesn't work that way. Cut it off now. As painful as that is, cirrhosis is worse. So if there are certain addictions like that or desires like that of that level, cutting it away. Other desires that we have, more manageable ones, a certain kind of food, being around certain company, tapering that off slower, giving myself ways of not connecting with that. Desire of right conduct, response, cordiality from others seems to be so basic for harmonious living. How to tackle that expectation? That seems harder than managing the mandate of other senses. Expectation for the people around me, especially those that I am in charge of guiding, especially those that I'm in charge of leading. When those actions are not in line with what my vision is as a parent, as a spouse, as a teacher, in all these different ways, that is very frustrating. What is my window of instruction? As a parent, that window goes till the age of 14 or 15. After that, they are fully cooked, fully baked, however you want to put it. Their decisions are theirs from that point onwards. Not that I don't have a responsibility to influence as a parent, but that window of influence has winnowed considerably. When it comes to a relationship with another person, I tell this to the chicks all the time. The baseline of what conduct is and how it is, you set that at the beginning. 10 years into marriage, oh, I didn't know you were going to be like the... Come on, the breadcrumbs were there. Did you address it before? If not, that's tacit approval of the way someone behaves, right? When are we addressing these things? Now, if it's someone I'm in charge of, employee, then what measures do I take? If an employee doesn't perform, I can fire them. Unfortunately, I can't fire my own kid. They're stuck in that role. Whether they like it or not, or I like it or not, that is the way it is. So from that standpoint, seeing what is that window of opportunity that I had or have, if that has passed, it's not that they have to meet my expectations that are in their self-interest. And if I can, as a parent, if there's any kind of string I can pull, whether it's financial support I'm bringing, rescind that financial support. If it's that they have a vehicle and they're using it for bad purposes, take that vehicle away. It's okay to discipline the ones that we can discipline. If we still have that hold over some of the aspects of their life until they understand what right action is. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Have a great week ahead, everybody. Hari Om.